Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
So we give it a couple of minutes for the rest of the attendees to join. First of all, welcome to today's webinar, Stand Out Efficiently, What Makes an All-Star Security Model. I'm Stefanos Loizou, and I'll be your main presenter today. As I said, let's give 1-2 minutes for the rest of the attendees to join in, and we can get going. For those who just joined, while we're waiting for the rest of the attendees to join in, I would like to give you a quick update for our next webinar. It's a webinar in collaboration with Celtics, which is a golden partner of ALLOut Security. The webinar will focus on how organizations and individuals can reduce efforts when going through a JD security audit. So if you're interested in learning what auditors typically ask for and how to have the answer at your fingertips and minimize a lot of the effort, then this webinar is for you. It is planned for the 13th of October and will soon be announced on our website and LinkedIn page. Also, today is my first webinar since joining ALLOut Security. So I would appreciate if you place your comments on the chat or on the survey by the end of the webinar. And of course, feel free to suggest any topics that will be of interest for you for the following webinars we will be hosting.
Thank you, Steph. And this is Monica, who will be in the background monitoring the chat. So any questions, I'll get back to you on the chat. And then at the end, I think we'll have some time for questions that we'd like to share with everyone or feedback that we'd like to share with everyone, because in your view, what do you think makes an all-star security model? We would like to know. We know what we've seen, but we don't know what your experience is like. So we'd love that. Are we ready to go, Steph?
Yeah, I think we are. All right then. So here's the agenda that I'll be covering today. Our aim is to share some insights that can make a real difference so you can get the most out of your time today. Firstly, we'll go through some quick introduction, then to our mission statement, then to what makes an all-star security model, where I'm going to break it down into 4 parts, which will correspond to those elements that can make a difference in your security model. And to conclude, you will get a quick recap of all the key concepts. Oh, here's a funny picture of myself. Credits to our marketing manager for the selection. Again, my name is Stefanos Loizou. You can call me Steph for your ease. I work as an account manager in ALLOut Security for the last 5 months, looking after customers in Europe and Latin American regions. And prior to that, I was an account manager in Oracle UK. Having said that, I'm quite familiar with Oracle technologies, although this past 5 months was and still is a big learning curve for me from a JD and ALLOut Security perspective. So the reason I've chosen to talk about an all-star security model is due to the fact that after several catch-ups and meetings with my customers, I've identified huge and fundamental differences on their security models, noticing clearly how making some of those to work as effective and beneficial for their organization as possible, and others to struggle with everyday time-consuming tasks. So I came up with the idea to talk about the easy and straightforward ways to structure a security model that actually works and avoid overkill process. Let's explore what makes an all-star security model then. To begin with, let's go through our mission statement. Our mission is to deliver simple security, streamlined process, and auditable reporting via enhanced risk visibility with reporting, best practice and out-of-the-box SOD, roles, and menus, by giving the capability to speed up security maintenance through automated multiple role conflict resolutions, through compliance with change control and preventative SOD, but also by offering the tools to expand its security and compliance projects. We are a market-leading software house, offering JDE best practice education via a tailored e-learning pathway through the ALLOut Academy. Individuals can now be certified for various roles as JDE security experts through the Academy online. We do also have our own global partner network that can support you throughout your JDE journey around the world. So let's see what makes an ALLSTAR security model then. From our experience, having interacted with more than 500 customers worldwide, and also from my personal experience talking to my customers directly, we've seen that in order to build an efficient and robust security model, one needs, or seems to need, an effective and easy to maintain role design. Now you may ask, well, why roles and why role design is important? Let's begin with a concept and use an analogy here so we can start visualizing and simplifying the concepts together. Imagine that roles are like containers of security records. As roles are the containers, then we need to switch our attention to the content of those containers so we can understand them. Well, that's one of the keys, and we will elaborate this during our webinar today. What those containers of security records are about, what do they consist of, and how they work. Let's explore together what seems to make a difference when designing those containers, as those containers mirror your business process. Now let's explore what those containers, roles, look like so your security model transforms to a fully functional ALLSTAR security model. Imagine this as your own Excel spreadsheet, where you will start with the containers, roles. Kindly keep this idea throughout the presentation. So what would these containers look like? They would look like your business processes. Therefore, the key would be to create a business process that works beneficial for the parties involved, the IT and the rest of the business, by creating containers, roles, that can be read easily by just looking at them. Therefore, individuals will be able to identify and understand roles by referring to the same concepts in different but identical words. Let's explore this example in detail. As you can see, with white color is highlighted the task name, which in this example is the account payables. Under each task, you will see the different activities that the specific task contains, which for the accounts payable can vary from AP voucher entry to AP voucher matching, etc. So in that column, we see the defined business task that the business will want the IT to create a role for. On the right-hand side, we see the role column with the role name for the IT. Because when you create a role in JDE, you need to enter a certain number of characters. The characters for the accounts payable task could include a number. In this example is 04, followed by an abbreviation of the corresponding task name. For example, AP voucher entry will be 04 VCH end. Establishing consistent role naming conventions, it's important because they are easily identifiable. This makes requesting roles for assignment much more efficient, as one immediately would know what the specific box contains. So here's two suggested conventions used in the above example. Prefix all roles with the same letter or number, such as 2-character E1 product code, for example 04 for accounts payable, and then link similar roles with similar prefixes, for example by functional area 3 characters, product code 2 characters, and process 5 characters. AP voucher entry is therefore defined as 04 VCH end, where finance, accounts payable, and vouchers conform to the naming of the convention. So here's our first ALLSTAR tip. Utilize role naming conventions that are consistent across each business function. We just covered what those roles would look like, so let's see what would they contain. Conceptually, what would you put in a container? Let's carry on with the idea of the Excel spreadsheet again. We are looking at this as a business process. Somebody, usually your business analysts, are setting up a menu for your end users. And usually the IT creates the access separately. The two elements here are 1, the menu, and 2, the access. Those ideally need to work in sync. You get efficiency when they are in sync because what the end user sees is what they get. And that's the concept we want to keep. That's why by default, access is allowed for the task within the process. It is easier to assign the relevant task to the authorized users and close any unauthorized access at system level. AP payment approval is a process that corresponds to a menu in our example. In the specific process, we see below the different activities that are part of the AP payment approval menu. Speed status change is a task within this process which could correspond to a menu which would take the individual into a JD application or a screen. In our example is P0411S. And the interesting part here is the fact that we can see the permissions of the specific process, which is key. So remember, business processes don't change, people do. The concept here is that the role is like a mirror of the business process. JD admins then just give the corresponding roles to the individuals needed. And in that way, an organization can be as efficient and transparent as possible from a JDE perspective. So let's go back a step now and sum up what those containers contain then. The menu, so individuals can see the list of their activities and the permissions to perform those activities. Essentially, you give them the keys to open the doors that you want them to open. So here's our second ALLSTAR tip. Menu and access need to work in sync. Well, how many roles would I need then? As many as you can identify as a business process. Think about how many processes you could identify. It is rare to see a business to effectively justify more than 100 process roles. A typical number would be between 20 and 80, depending on the E1 modules used. A typical end user would have between 4 and 6 roles assigned to them. E1 will work differently from version to version, but generally it will support up to 30 roles per user. The point here is not to create too big roles, as people will have extensive access, and not too small, because this is adding maintenance. The key seems to be at the point where your organization achieves the balance between the two. From an ALLOut perspective, we can cope with any number of roles. Although here we're talking about you and what makes an ALLSTAR security model. So here's the third ALLSTAR tip for the day. Create balanced roles so you can avoid either extensive access or add-on maintenance. Now you may ask, well, what resources would I need and from where to start with this? And we received a question on the webinar page on LinkedIn on that. So I'm glad that I've seen that earlier today. We've been observing our 500 customers over the years, and the ones who were successful in building a robust security model were the ones who achieved collaboration between the menu team, the business analysts, and the security team. Now you may ask why. Well, usually your business analysts are setting up a menu for your end users, and the IT creates the access separately. If both of those teams are working in sync and in harmony, then transparency, clarity, and effectiveness is achieved for your security model. Assigning roles to users is something that is not happening while you identify your business process. You first identify your business process, then you create your roles, and finally, you assign those containers to the relevant users. So here's our fourth ALLSTAR tip. Make your teams work together. Business analysts should work in sync with your security team. So what do we recommend then? Going back to what I've mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, once you have completed your data in the Excel, you can simply copy and paste into the ALLOut screens and update JDE in seconds. If you don't have time for that, or you don't know where to start, I've got good news for you. We've got all the containers for JDE modules ready for you. We call it Standout. It's a spreadsheet that allows you to configure and streamline menus and security using pre-configured and out-of-the-box templates of all menu options and roles. Standout includes over 200 sample roles. As for us, your project is the most important thing, and we got you covered. It allows you to redesign and streamline menus and security in E1 using preloaded templates of all menu options and roles. It is an out-of-the-box project facilitator, which helps save time and effort. Simply tailor and upload to JDE. Easy as that. It expands and standardizes the delivery of uniform best practices and error-free processes to your business using a template. Incorporating out-of-the-box fully modifiable roles, which helps achieve deny all, Standout suggests best practice menus, E1 pages, and security, while giving the capability to upload it into JDE in seconds. So how does it work? Analyze tasks, roles, and programs, adjust your selections, review with the business and get approvals, upload them to your JDE instance, and go. So here's the menu screen the user gets once Standout is open. You can see the different sections and categories the tool can be used for, either to configure, to manage JDE projects, to maintain JDE data within Standout, so basically to edit your work, and the extraction piece. So I would like to focus on the tab for managing JDE projects. As you can see, you can kickstart your project by simply managing the existing worksheet with best practices we are providing as you like, configuring the options you want, or split merge worksheets according to your requirements. Kickstarting your security model project is now effortless using Standout. You can even use it as a reference and compare the best practices we suggest, as you can see on the left side, with your menus, the right side, through the option Maintain and Compare. Let's now summarize the ALLSTAR tips to take away from today's webinar. Building an effective and easy to maintain role design by giving emphasis to the content of your roles. Your roles should ideally look like your business processes, so think about them. Creating business process that works beneficial for the parties involved, the IT, and the rest of the business, by creating roles that can be read easily by just looking at them. Use role naming conventions. So prefix roles with the same letter or number, for example, 04 for accounts payable, so you can make them identifiable and easy to interact with. And also remembering that business processes don't change, people do, meaning that menu and access should work in sync. Avoiding to create too big roles, as people will have extensive access, but also not too small, as this is adding maintenance. Trying to achieve the balance between the two for effective role design. Having your teams work together. Reinforce your menu team, the business analyst, and security team to work and collaborate together in harmony. Lastly, if you want to kickstart your menu and security project and deliver results rapidly, take advantage of our out-of-the-box best practices tool, Standout. Analyze tasks, roles, and programs, adjust your selections, and upload those into your JD instance. Kickstart your project within an hour, easily. So why choose ALLOut then? Because we're here to empower you by offering cost-effective solutions, which helps organizations to secure and protect against emerging risks. Our software, it's an easy to install and requires no project, as it is installed directly in your JD Edwards environment. It maximizes your JD investment, as the software, it's an embedded interface within your JD instance. So there is no need to retrain your security team or to utilize any third-party reporting tools. And finally, we are JD experts, known for our industry-leading best practices and expertise in all things JD related. To conclude, I would like to introduce to everyone our latest initiative, the ALLOut Academy, which essentially offers on-demand, tailored e-learning pathway for all levels, from beginners to experts, and fully downloadable tutorials. At the moment, we have 3 pathways to JD certification, starting from audit and compliance, security administrator, and security implementation expert. We do offer also through the Academy free training webinars, and we do update the Academy with different topics monthly. So if you're not ALLOut Risk Secure certified, then the time is now, and you should be. So thank you very much for joining today's webinar. Please get in touch with us with any questions you might have via our email, info@alloutsecurity.com. Stay connected via our LinkedIn page for webinar updates and general news, and visit our website www.alloutsecurity.com for the latest announcements. And I think we got some time, so me and my colleague Monica will start addressing your questions as soon as possible.
Thank you, Steph. There are no questions at the moment.
Okay.
But we'll be here for a few minutes. The chat is not only for questions. We'd love to hear your feedback and what are you thinking about what we've said makes an ALLSTAR security model. What have you seen? Are there other elements that help reduce costs when you're maintaining a security model? We'd love to hear your feedback. We'd like to learn from you. Let us know your thoughts. And while we're waiting, actually, I'd like to share, Steph, two insights that were left in our webinar LinkedIn page. One is from our good friend, Brian Connor, who's got tons of experience with JDE and has his security practice, and he's saying that what makes an ALLSTAR security model is partnership between IT, most importantly the business, but he adds compliance as well. That removing one of these means that the model is incomplete and will likely need to be reviewed. So has anyone got more to share?
Monica, just to add on this, Brian is saying that this needs to be happen in the very beginning. So I think, at least for me, that's that's a very important addition and a very important statement. So yeah, feel free to share
Yes.
your thoughts.
Yes, because compliance actually would need to be involved in what the plan is going to be to design the roles, even though if you design them like we've said, based on processes, very easy to understand what the contents are. I think compliance would like that, but certainly they have to buy into what you're going to do. And then we've got a question here, if you can see it. Sorry. Why can I not see this?
So when I have created the small process-based roles, can you see it, Monica?
Can you read it for me, please?
Yeah.
Because it's too, I don't know why it's too small.
Yeah. So when I have created the small process-based roles in the past, I ran into problems with security conflicts. How do I avoid that? If you click on the question, it's going to appear below, Monica.
Yeah. Yes. I'd like to understand more how you have created them, because you say small process-based roles. So what we're trying to say is, you know, depending on what the business you have, the business size, how many roles would make sense. So I don't know if in this case, you know, the number is perhaps they are too granular, but I'd like to understand more about that and share with everyone these who attended the presentation. So if you're happy to share more, learn about that, we'll give you a recommendation, and then we'll share with the audience.
And also, that's something that we mentioned on the webinar as well. Creating balanced role seems to be key. So not too small, because as you said, it's adding maintenance or security problem or security conflict.
But it's really understanding this case specific. You know, if it's not working, why is it not working? We'd like to have to understand more of this specific case. So that's great. And then another insight that, yeah, our colleague
another
Linda
question on the chat.
Is there another question? Oh, why is not opening? Can you see it? Not duplicating settings, Brian Connor. Yes, can you read that? I think Brian has left another insight. Yeah, sorry, I've got trouble opening the.
So Brian placed another question. Thank you very much for this. So having the base design done correctly, leveraging public and not duplicating settings within the roles, will eliminate most, if not all, the application role conflicts.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Also, yeah, as I was saying, our colleague Linda also shares her insight as well, and she says that there's actually what is not an ALLSTAR security model, which actually costs time in the long-term maintenance of security. And she says that security roles that are too broad to be reutilized result in too many similar roles. For example, you could end up with 6 buyer roles. that only add maintenance and also create confusion during user provisioning, because you end up in doubt about which one is the right one for the user. So that is something to avoid. That's an add to an ALLSTAR security model. Okay, and I think we've arrived at the top of the hour. We would like to hear more, please. So if you would like to post it on our webinar link page, or the ALLOut LinkedIn or our emails, or come back to us with your feedback. We'd love to share it with the JD community, and so we can all learn more about this and we can all be more efficient.
Absolutely. And thank you again all for your time. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you so much for spending this time with us. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.